Hello, my friends. Welcome to Let's Talk, produced by Wise Mindly Inc. I'm your host, Coach Che Marville. In this space, we dive into transformative conversations that hopefully inspire you to grow, heal, and have a deeper connection to yourself and to the world around you. So, let's talk, let's connect, let's grow together. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. My friends, welcome to a new season of Let's Talk. I opened with a poem on purpose because I needed to reframe this season. Before we go anywhere, I needed to be real with you, real about the world and our emotions and who we are, and about the topics of hope and resilience, love, peace. There's so much going on in the world right now, and I think before we talk about all the things we talk about on Let's Talk, identity, relationships, meditation, leadership, that's what we're going to focus on this year. A little thing called perimenopause. And all the things we are always going deep on. There's something else. I needed to start with this bigger picture, with the idea of the unconquered self, because the truth is right now we are existing in a world that has a third world, and that third world isn't people. It's a universe of technology, of algorithms, of inanimate ideas that are driving who we are and what we are and who we are becoming and what we do and even why we do. And it's changed us. It's changing us. And the thing that we have created, the collective we, is also the thing that we are afraid of, that we are actually saying is threatening who we are becoming, as though we are not the creators of the very thing that is changing who we are. I needed to start there. And we are overwhelmed by technology. We are overwhelmed by the very objects we have created. It's not busyness. It's more than stress. It's the weight of all of the information. It is the weight of the 24/7. It is the weight of seeing and knowing every conflict, every crisis, every act of division and cruelty delivered to us nonstop, directly, constantly, in real time. It's filling our dreams and our daydreams. It's changing how people behave, how they feel about themselves, how they feel about you, how you feel about yourself. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, of all of this, we dare to make a life. You're also trying to build into the future, but at the same time you're being told, well, the future, it's not going to be, we don't know what it's going to be. We don't know. What is wrong with human beings who create things that could destroy their future? Now, here's the hope. It's going to sound a little bit contrary, but if you've been listening to me, you know I can be contrary. And so is the world. The hope is in our history, and it is in how we have always existed and in how we exist as human beings. We are always innovating, inventing, and creating and building. The collective history of us is one of pain, of war. All the things that we are so steeped in now in terms of information have always been going on. We just didn't always know about it all at the same time. And I believe that so many of us are quietly struggling with the content of this world, knowing the realities of this world, feeling the heaviness of knowing we were not designed to see all of these things and not act. So it is natural to feel a kind of despair and the weight of that despair. And at the same time, you're trying to live your life and you're trying to be hopeful and you're trying to create and make something when all around you, all that you are hearing is bad news. And there is no place to put it. And so today, I want to encourage you to remember this. That it is the history of human beings to do the things that we are seeing all the time. And that over the centuries, we have done a little bit less of those harsh, violent, aggressive, hateful things. And that if you really look around the world and look around your life and look yourself in the mirror, you know that you are more, that this is more, that we actually, from a data point of view, are actually better than we were. And I need to say to you that this year, because of all of the bad news, I've made the decision that I have to focus on what is good. I want this to be a place that you come to, not to be naive, not to live in a Pollyanna kind of world, not to pretend, but to understand the role of resilience, the role of hope, the role of understanding our history, the role of going deeper and using the language of love and kindness and compassion and holding one another with those words, with our presence. Oh my goodness, but before we go there, a couple of weeks ago, Let's Talk was selected as one of the top 25 midlife podcasts in Canada by FeedSpot. And we're number 7 on the list. They have recognized us. And listen, I take it and I say thank you. I'm so grateful because it takes so much to build a podcast. It takes so much to create it every week, every month. And you know what's funny? A few years ago, some of you have heard this story also. I was working for this organization, and in order to actually continue with them, they actually asked me to stop doing my podcast. And I did for about a minute. I stopped. And it is a good thing that I didn't stop completely, because they were wrong. And what we've been building over the last 6 years, the relationships, the people that we have been able to connect to and touch, and what we are now building into a larger media network. I couldn't have told you in 2020, November, when we started, that this is what it would become. So I am extraordinarily grateful. And I want to encourage you, if you are out there listening and feeling like you're doing something that's really hard and you have people telling you not to do it, ask yourself, is this your skill? What are you learning? Do you become more because of it? And give yourself some grace. Don't allow doubt in yourself and the doubt of others to hold you back from applying your genius to the world. And I don't mean that in comparison to anyone else. I mean every single one of us has this unique genius that is in us. The way we exist in the world, or the way we see the world, the way we smell and breathe in this world is unlike anyone else. So what we have to offer the world is also different. So I just want to thank you all for listening and staying with us, through the ups and the downs. And I promise you, season 6 is going to be worth your attention and worth your time. So thank you, genuinely, from my heart. Now, as I mentioned, we are living in a time of conspiracy. Well, actually, no, we're not. We're beyond conspiracy now. We're in a time of disconnection, and we're in a time of distrust, and we're in a time of polarization and a lot of discomfort. The knowledge, the information, the amount of lies, the amount of people who are disturbed, the things that have been done, the things that are being done, and the wars that are happening, the wars in us, and the wars external to us. It's a lot. But we have to also name what's actually happening before we can move through it. We're living through, oh my God, we're living through a transformation of our whole society. That perhaps what got us here can no longer take us to the next place. And so it is uncomfortable. As we live through the wars and the political polarization and the economic uncertainty and crisis after crisis, and people that we keep giving our money and our data to, who keep trying to diminish us and take our livelihoods away. But what's good about that is that it pushes us towards being who we truly are and applying who we truly are to this world. Social media, which was supposed to connect us, actually makes us covetous and angry and disconnected and performative. But then because of it, we start to understand the profound difference between what's real and what's not real. And we see it every day and we feel it every day. And so many of us are craving, praying, hoping to feel something real, to trust something real. And I have to tell you, there's only one thing new about what we are living through right now, really. Yes, the technology is new, but there's something else. What is new is that we know about it all the time. War is not new. Tribalism is not new. Fear and division and the fracturing of society is not new. What's new is our awareness. What's new is that we are continually, constantly triggered. There is no distance. The history is happening with us in it. When people lived through the world wars, they were living in their moment. They weren't also watching it 24 hours a day in 47 other countries. They weren't watching it unfold on screen, in their hand actually, scrolling. And that changes something fundamental about how our nervous system processes the world. It is not a weakness to feel overwhelmed. In fact, it's actually the accurate response to an unprecedented amount of input. And the question is, what do we do with it? And here's where I want to make the argument. The argument, I know you didn't think I was going here, but this is the argument. The argument from my perspective is not that the world is worse. It's just that we're seeing it. We're seeing what we're capable of. I want to make the argument for hope. And I don't mean toxic positivity and think positive no matter what's happening and just keep focusing on what's good. No, I'm not talking about that. A historical argument for hope. Human beings have always been capable of extraordinary cruelty, and human beings have always been capable of extraordinary resilience. Those two things are not a contradiction. They are both true. They have always been, and they will always be as long as we exist. And if you look at the long arc of human history, not just the news and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and whatever else you're following or connected to, not this week, not this year, but the long arc of history, you see something remarkable. We continue, we rebuild, we create, we reach towards each other over and over again in the most impossible circumstances across impossible distances. We make art in the middle of ruins. We fall in love in the middle of chaos. We raise children and plant gardens and tell stories of who came before us, because something in us insists on the future. That insistence, that refusal to stop believing in what comes next is not naivete. It is not the most radical. In fact, it is one of the most radical things a human being can do, is to believe in the future amidst the pain. And this brings me back to the poem that I opened with today, Invictus. And I'm not talking about the Invictus Games. I'm talking about the poem, because I didn't just choose it randomly. It has a lineage, and I want you to know why I chose it. I was first introduced to it by a South African artist and teacher when I was a teenager. She was Jewish from South Africa. She was my drama teacher, my tutor. I saw her after school. And it was one of the many poems that she taught me. It's by William Ernest Henley. He wrote it in 1875. He was recovering from tuberculosis, and he had had his leg amputated. He was in tremendous pain, facing real uncertainty about whether he could survive. And no, it does not matter his race, because the things that are in this poem speak to all of us. It was out of the pain that he wrote this poem. And it was Nelson Mandela who kept reciting this poem when he was in jail. For 27 years, he was imprisoned. 18 of those years on Robben Island, cut off, isolated in conditions designed to break a person. It was Morgan Freeman, in telling his story and performing his story, that brought that poem forward again. But that poem crossed centuries and people because it spoke to a truth about being a human being. The woman who taught me the poem, she actually was kicked out of South Africa for fighting against apartheid. And she didn't have to. But it was one of her greatest accomplishments. And I think, the thing I love about where I grew up in Canada and being a Canadian, and being a Canadian is not perfect in any way. And I don't think that your country has to be perfect for you to love it. I love my country, but I know my country is not perfect. But the thing I love about Canada, at least when I was growing up, it was a place where a lot of different kinds of people brought their histories and herstories together and lived amongst one another, not always happily, not always cohesively, but with one dream and belief that we could be something together. And in that pluralism, in that possibility that I grew up in the 70s and the 80s, with a divorced mom, living in an apartment in Thorncliffe Park, living with people from all over the world. It was that idea, that idealism, that gave me such a rich belief and understanding of being a human being. And when that teacher taught me this poem, and she asked me to stand up, and she asked me to lift up my chest, and she asked me to say it out loud and whisper it. She asked me to say it in a different tone, and she asked me to scream it. She shared a kind of tool for liberation that I have never forgotten to this day. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. I ask you today, wherever you are, to find this poem and to say it, and to find your defiance in this moment, in this world that we are living in 2026. Your defiance, not hate, but defiance of all the angry people, defiance of all the pessimism, defiance of all who are trying to create something that minimizes the many and only lifts a few. It is the decisions we make in the dark, made alone, about who we are, about what our spirit is, that defines what our life will become. Here's what my life has taught me. Here's what 50 plus years has taught me, and there's so much. I am so grateful for so much. Resilience is not a one-time trick. It is not a personality trait. It's not that some people have it and some people don't. It's a practice. It's a muscle. It's a decision. And it's never easy. And sometimes it's made quietly. And sometimes it's made out in front of others. But it doesn't happen with an audience. It's internal. And you can't always see its outcome because it's a pattern. It's a practice. It's a pattern. And it requires that you find a way in yourself to keep going forward. To choose meaning when your mood says there isn't any. To stay when everything in you wants to give up and walk away. To believe in your ability to rise and to strengthen and to build, even when everyone around you tells you no, or you can't, or you shouldn't, or that's not for you. Most of what we build in our life will never be witnessed because it happens inside of us. There will be no applause. There will be no recognition. There is no one watching you to decide. It's not the Oscars. It's not the Olympics. Every one of us, every single day, makes a choice to keep going. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged the punishments, the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. My friends, this year in 2026, don't allow this loud technology, this confrontation with greed and conflict, false enemies, and people who do not know anything about love or history, justice or goodness, to prevent you from your own genius and greatness. We always walk multiple paths. We can feel the grief of this world and still feel grateful that we are a dream that somebody else imagined. And so we have to invest in the dream, not the nightmare, not the overwhelm, but the hope. We can choose. We can see the things that are dark and painful and hurtful, and we still can expand. And like Maya Angelou said, we can still rise. We live in a moment that asks us a great deal. It asks us to see so many things that are unseeable and to still become more. And that is because we are more. Human beings have always lived in moments that asked us to be more than the moment, to continue when we want to stop. And so if you take one thing away from this episode and this show and today, let it be this. To hope is not naive. To be persistent is not to be a pretender. Your decision to keep going, to keep making, to keep trying, to keep expanding is your human birthright. And that's why season 6 in 2026 of Let's Talk is about hope and growth, passion, love, leading from who we truly are. I'm so grateful that you're here, and I can't wait to hear from you. Until next time, I'm Che, and this is Let's Talk. My friends, thank you for joining me on Let's Talk, produced by Wise Mindly Inc. I hope today's conversation inspired you to take action, reflect, or embrace on a new way of thinking, on a new path. And if you enjoyed today's episode, and hopefully you did, don't forget to subscribe, share, and even leave a review. Reviews matter. They allow us to do way more than we're doing now. Let's continue the journey of growth and well-being together. Until next time, I'm Coach Che Marville. Stay connected, stay curious, and let's keep talking.